Coming from a bitter soul, coming from someone that cannot do without profiling us, coming from someone that really did not understand the system of America and how it works, coming from someone that would literally not even enjoy every single benefits of America, if not for the efforts of black people. I don't want to even generalize that word that he said, other races, from the first clip that I actually roll out. But anyways, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sonia. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Credits belong to the original creators of every clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks, and also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. With that being said, let's go here and I'll be back with commentaries. Some of these white people are honestly funny, to be honest. They are really, really funny. Let's continue watching, guys. I'll be back.
In your video, you said, we don't need them, they need us. Who's they?
Yes.
Who's they?
The white people ultimately don't need other races in order to succeed, in order to be ourselves. Absolutely not.
So, how do you think America became the greatest economic nation without...
Not through black people.
Oh, it wasn't? It wasn't because of free labor?
Are you talking about slavery?
No, I'm talking about slavery and also what happened after slavery, which Douglas Blackman talked about, slavery by another name. So I'm trying to understand, when you say didn't need it, how do you think America became the greatest economy that it did? How do you think that happened?
Through the genius of Europeans.
How was the genius of Europeans when the fact of the matter is it was actually King Cotton that supplied the economic means for America to do so? And that was a result of free labor from black people.
Look, the whole point here is that who creates these systems, who creates these business models and businesses?
Slavery was a business model?
Well, yes, it was a business model, yeah.
And was that one that you like or dislike?
I dislike.
You dislike?
Yeah, I absolutely reject it.
Okay,
yeah.
so but you deny the reality though.
No,
that's what allowed America to become the economic power, because America supplied 91% of the world's cotton, and so as a result of that, that's how America was able to fund the Industrial Revolution. It was because of free labor from black people.
The Industrial Revolution originated in Britain, and it originated in the countryside of Britain, where there were absolutely no slaves.
I said the money generated from that. But I asked you again, okay? You said we don't need anybody else.
No.
But the reality is, American history proves you wrong. The fact of the matter is, there is no great America. You can't sit here and talk about that greatness without other people making that happen.
We could have figured out another way to pick cotton.
Who?
I mean, white people could have figured out another way to
tried
get
that, didn't work. Yeah, I mean,
we do it now. We've done it previously.
I don't know what books you read, but no, that's actually not what happened. But you said y'all would have figured it out, but you didn't.
Let that sink in.
Things white people have accomplished. 97% of inventions were made by Europeans, and there's actually a website when they say like the traffic light or peanut butter was invented by black people. I don't think they've invented anything actually. There's a website that like fact checks these black inventions, and you look deeper into it and usually they're all from white people that they might have added something or it was like completely stolen. So why are we not taught about that?
Wow, there's a site debunking black inventions?
Yeah, I didn't even invent peanut butter, so I don't think they've invented anything actually.
Is this a measuring contest of which race is better? Do you see something in us that we probably don't even see in ourselves? Do you look at us like so superior to the point that you have to say, look, you didn't make that, you're not that good? It's similar to like, if there's a really, really attractive girl and there's a girl who's maybe not as attractive and not getting as much attention, she goes out of her way to basically go, hey, she's a liar, she's ugly. Everyone clearly sees that when it comes to beauty. You are being disrespectful because you don't have something or you feel inferior. You need to work on yourself instead of tearing down that beautiful woman. That's how we see it. Why do you need to stand so high above black people? Why do you need to keep on making it a thing where you keep on telling the world that you're better?
African Americans built capitalism in the same way that potatoes built
McDonald's. The United States was 90+%, in my opinion, of course, white, almost for the totality of its existence. And you're going to tell me that this tiny group of people are the ones who made it great? Fuck off. It's my blood and sweat of my relatives that made that happen.
In America today, a white man with a high school diploma makes more than a black man with a master's degree. A white man with a master's degree makes more than a black man with a doctorate. You follow what I'm saying? So that is real. There was a study that was done not too long ago where white men who had a prison record and no college degree, were called back for a job more often than black men with master's degrees with no prison record at all. Right? There was a sister who just did a study. I just saw it the other day. She changed her name to a white woman's name.
I saw that.
You saw that?
Yeah.
On what is it? Indeed. What's the thing on?
Indeed, yeah. Yeah, Indeed and all those job sites. LinkedIn.
Right.
Indeed.
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And she passed herself off as a white woman. And she proved that there was discrimination. Same resume, same everything, but when she was Caucasian, way more job opportunities than when she was black. So that's a real thing. How do we change that? You got to change the system. Because here's the thing. We can't deny the American African his humanity for good and for bad. This is what I mean by that. There was a psychological study that was done, I forget the name of it, where they took a rat and they put the rat in a box. And they kept enticing the rat to climb out the box. And every time the rat tried to climb out the box, they kept getting pushed back into the box. So guess what happened after hundreds of times of trying to jump out the box and kept getting pushed back in? They stopped trying to jump out the box. The white man, a Charlie Kirk, will look at that and say, look at the lazy black. They not trying enough. They not working hard enough. What did I say? Don't discount the history. He's not going to talk about the fact that they've been trying to do that for the past 200 years, and they learned through experience that trying to get out the box is not the way you get out.
When you look at systemic racism, you're looking at trends that have affected the wealth gap between the races historically in the United States. This is not about a person being a racist or your grandma being a racist. It has to do with what the economy looked like for white persons and black persons historically in this country. Back during the time of the Civil War, the white folks had 56 times more wealth on average than a black person. So it was 56-1. Just 10 years later, in 1870, after Reconstruction, that gap went from 56-1 to 23-1. Pretty dramatic improvement in 10 years. The reason for that market improvement is that while black people were now allowed to purchase land and assets, so black wealth was going up, simultaneously white wealth was coming down because what was a huge part of their wealth? Slaves. Human beings that they were no longer allowed to own. By 1900, the gap had closed all the way to 11-1. The average white person had 11 times more wealth than the average black person. And then it stalled out. And the reason it stalled out is because black people were still being discriminated against. They didn't have the same access to credit, if any access to credit. Legislative attempts at narrowing the gap were shot down, trying to finish narrowing the gap were shot down, like the 40 acres and a mule thing that never got passed. They faced widespread discrimination in education. The schools were still segregated and they weren't getting the best funding and they weren't getting the best teachers. They were discriminated against in the workforce. Now from 1900, when it was 11-1, to 1960, over 60 years, the gap squeezed a little bit smaller to 8-1. So for every black family that had $10,000 in total assets, the average white family had $80,000 in total assets, okay? And how did we go from 11-1 to 8-1? Well, a couple things happened. FDR made it illegal to discriminate against black workers, but only for purposes of the military and government positions, but still, every little bit helps. And then also, you had World War I and World War II. So many white men left the American workforce that black men were finally able to start moving up into higher paid positions. That doesn't mean they were paid the same as the white person who had previously done that job, but they were being paid more than they were previously, and they were getting access to higher skilled work. So then by the 1980s, the gap had closed to 5-1. And what was helping close the gap? Civil rights that had taken place between 1965 and 1980, Fair Housing Act, the federal minimum wage that did not discriminate. So those things were helping close that gap just a little bit. So that takes us up to 1980, but what has happened in the last 45 years? We were at 5-to-1 gap. How much have we closed since then? None. In the last 45 years, we've gone backwards. So we are now at a 6-to-1 gap. The average white family has 6 times more wealth than the average black family. And why is that happening? Well, because wealth compounds. It's not just about who has the ability to earn X salary. It's that the white families were starting with more wealth, more property, more stocks, bonds, etc. And they're able to compound that wealth. Whereas if the black and brown populations are starting without those assets, they don't have the ability to compound. They end up having to spend what they earn. They have to consume the majority of the income that they're earning just to sustain a living. This isn't about blaming an individual. It's not about vilifying people. What it is about is exploring and understanding the economics behind why we have that gap so that we can address those things with policy moving forward.
White people as a collective group are insecure. You do not steal other people's culture if you are secure. You do not create a whole category of an identity to put yourself over another group of people if you are secure. You do not deport or kill other racial groups in order to maintain the integrity of yours if you are secure. You do not constantly try to separate yourself from the bad white people if you are secure. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because that insecurity manifests itself differently depending on what group of white people we are talking about, especially if we are talking about it on a political spectrum. On the right, it's pretty easy to tell where their insecurities are manifesting. We've talked about it extensively as a country. But on the left, I don't think we've explored that as much, and I want to point that out because I'm seeing it a lot right now. White people on the left side of things tend to hyperfixate on not appearing problematic. Because white people on the left side of things tend to have an awareness of the problematic nature of their history, they're more aware than the people on the right. So because of that, there's an understanding of the harm that has been caused. Because of that, if there's any issue where it could appear as if they are problematic, it sparks some level of insecurity, therefore a reaction that can either be compulsive or intentional. It is because of this that if there is a social justice issue that is getting a lot of public attention, and especially if it has a graphic nature to it, there are going to be white people that will not allow any nuance around understanding or reacting to that social justice issue. Because there is a hyperfixation and concern at a quote-unquote risk of appearing problematic in the response or their understanding to that issue. Now, there is a level of this that is understandable and appropriate because there are times where the nuance does not need to be brought in by white people because a lot of the times it's perpetuated by white people, the harm. But the issue comes in when you have a harm that is affecting people of color. Those people of color are trying to understand, unpack, and address it with some level of nuance that is needed in order to address something at a macro level. And you have white people that will not allow that to happen, even if they are not the ones being directly impacted by the harm. The development of whiteness is a fatal wound that white people have experienced and created for themselves. And it is something that I am very aware of when I talk about white people or the concept of like white supremacy especially. I always say that whiteness is the issue. It is what is problematic. It is what is a problem. And that is what we need to quote unquote get rid of, not white people. Those are two separate things. Whiteness is a concept, is a construct that was created in order to push other people down and put white people above other marginalized groups of people. But white people within themselves being born with paler skin than me and other people of color, that in and within itself is not problematic. And you need to separate the two in order to get out of this level of insecurity, this pervasive level of insecurity. But going back to culture, specifically when it comes to insecurity with white people, I personally strongly believe that is why stan culture is so incredibly strong with white people. It is because there is a hole left in place for white people because of the replacement of culture with the concept of whiteness. Whiteness does not give you any fulfillment. It does not do anything for you. It is not a connecting force other than a connection in putting other people below you, whether it's something you actively or subconsciously participate in. But stands, fandoms, give you something to collectively orient yourself around. It gives you a connection point. It is something that you can identify with outside of your whiteness. Because of this, that is why I do believe that the particular, what I like to call the doxing Swifties, not the normal ones, not the ones that have some ability to operate outside of this, but the doxing Swifties in particular, especially the white ones, are the ones that have a big problem with this. There are other things of this nature. It is not just Taylor Swift that has a fan group or a portion of her fan group that operate in this way. You could have that argument about Star Wars. You could have that argument about a lot of different cultural groups that come together based off of some level of some element of media or music or whatever. But I strongly believe that there is a fundamental wound that white people have experienced that leaves them susceptible to this kind of behavior and this blind spot that happens when you're not able to allow nuance because of this, again, risk or paranoia about appearing problematic. Again, I'm not saying that that is something that is an issue all the time. In fact, a lot of times that caution is warranted. But at the same time, when you are having this caution in play, it is important that you are checking it when you are having it in relation to other people of color, especially Black people. I'm seeing that conversation a lot right now when it comes to Jasmine Crockett. Yes, that is what's sparking this. It is not problematic to want to have a conversation about what is happening here in the U.S. when it comes to who we put in office. It is not problematic to want to have that conversation because we are experiencing harm at a severe level and have been experiencing it for hundreds of years. And under this administration, it is getting worse. So yes, a lot, and I do mean a lot, of Black people care about what is happening overseas. I am one of them. I care about it deeply. I have been connected with people in Gaza that are no longer here. I care about what's happening in that damn country, I promise. We cannot ignore the violence that Black people alone constantly experience in this country, and it is only getting worse. It is not something that we can completely separate, but it is a consideration. So it is harmful when you have white people come into the picture and in their pursuit of moral purity in order to not appear problematic, there is a way that a lot of white people shut down very valid conversations that a lot of people of color, but especially Black people in this particular conversation, are trying to have. Texas is violent to its citizens. Texas is a hub for ICE. Texas has done everything it can to siphon everything it can out of the citizens that are in this country. Texas is also in the South. So we have this issue where when things happen to us and things are really bad and we have things like ice storms and all these other kind of things that cause harm and people end up dying, we then have to suffer through the narrative of we deserve it because we voted for the people that made this circumstance possible, when we are one of, if not the most voter suppressed state in this country. I could tell you all day the harm and violence that Texans experience on a daily basis. A lot of the things that other states experience, whether it be the South, like southern states, it'd be red states, it'd be blue states, if they end up being touched by it as well, starts in Texas. It does. Do you know Greg Abbott is trying to put Turning Point USA in every school in this state? Did you know that? There needs to be a very, very honest conversation about harm and violence across the board, because we cannot put violence to one group over the other. It is all bad. Which is why I say it is important that you do not look at things in black and white. It is dangerous to do so. And you have to be able to understand that two things can be true at once. We can hold very firmly that the violence that the Palestinian people are experiencing is horrific. We can also hold very firmly that the very subliminal or sometimes very overt racism that Black people also experience in this country is also bad as fuck, because one is not better than the other. It's just not. All of it's fucking bad. We have to be able to acknowledge these conversations with nuance. It is incredibly important because if you are not able to do it, it is fucking dangerous. I'm not doing this again. That is why I've said incessantly that I need the people that are not in Texas to take a step back when it comes to this Texas Senate race. Because you are playing quite literally with people's lives by doing it. So as a collective, I highly encourage white people to interrogate the culture of insecurity that is driving a lot of actions for y'all.
So you can't be a good white person and put your body in between them trying to kidnap a brown person or harm a black person. When you do that, you lose your proximity to whiteness and you lose the benefits that come along with it. That's the cost. We're all acting so shocked that they murdered a white woman. Well, see, she wasn't a good white. She was out there advocating for brown people, so she lost her proximity to whiteness. This is the work of dismantling white supremacy. This is what it's going to cost. It's time for some radical acceptance. Because they've been out there killing black and brown people for hundreds of years. And people who looked like me were having picnics under black bodies as they blew in the breeze after they'd been lynched. And then 6 years ago, when they kneeled on George Floyd's neck, we all put a black picture in our Instagram, acting as if that were enough. In order to dismantle white supremacy, we have to be willing to lose the benefits of whiteness. Means they kill us too. That's what that means. And it's time for some radical acceptance about that, guys. That's what it's going to take to dismantle white supremacy, is losing the benefits of the system. So we can't be so shocked as white people continue to die. Because we weren't this shocked when black and brown people were dying. Because we expected it. Not because we weren't grieving, but we expected it, right? You should expect it. We have to lose the benefits of the system if we want to tear the system down. White supremacy has been killing black and brown folks. And it's not going to go down without a fight. So if you lose your proximity to white supremacy and whiteness, you will lose the safety that goes along with it.
It is crazy how some of these white folks will literally say something without considering anybody that is affecting or whatsoever, because a lot of them really do not care who it affects or not. So to see a white man saying that black people, they don't need black people, that black people are the one that needs them, is something I'll not even wrap my head to. But I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because one thing a lot of white folks do is try claim what is not theirs, try to make it look like they are helping us as black people, try to make it look like every single thing that they have literally achieved, it is by their efforts, it is by their strength, it is by their own will, trying to make it look like black people really did not do anything. So I am not surprised. This is not the first time. This is not the first video. But why am I bringing this video? I'm bringing this video so that we black people can also have a reminder by ourselves that no matter what these people do, no matter how hard they try to push us, no matter how they try to reclassify things, no matter how they try to make it look like black people are not amounting to anything, they didn't really do anything, we should know what we did. We should know our efforts and we should know how we will continue to keep striving till we get to the highest point. And I'm kind of happy with the generation that black people are building right now, especially black people in America. Because I'll keep saying this. Sometimes I sit down, I wonder, and I think, like, how are black Americans able to cope through all of this race, through all of this thing that has literally been happening to them? Do you get? I would think about it. And then again, when I check, they are coping really well. They are even trying to shame them instead of getting intimidated, instead of getting scared, instead of making it look like, oh, our life, our soul, our spirits, everything depend on these white folks. And I'm also happy with the Gen Z that we are, that as at this point, we now know that a lot of lies that these people told, a lot of lies that were done, a lot of atrocities that were committed, a lot of lies that were said is not working on us. It's not working at all. Mm-mm. It is literally not working on us. Because at the end of the day, we are the superior. You know, I always sit sometime and I just tell myself, if these things that some of these white folk literally did to us, if it was what we actually want to reverse, do you think these people would have survived it? Do you think these people would have literally survived? They wouldn't have. And there, them folks know it. That is why it's looking more like in every single space we are, they're trying to compete. They're trying to make us see ourselves in another way. They're trying to make it look as if we are the problem. They're trying to justify their acts and they're trying to just do a lot of things at the same time. But we are winning. We are standing. We are striving. They say they don't need us. Black people have never done anything for them. Black people have never literally contributed, but they are enjoying black people's sweat. They are enjoying what it means to be in America today, all because of the effort that black people has literally put in place. When I mean black Americans specifically has put in spaces. And that is why even till date, I will keep saying it, nobody, nobody understand America more than black Americans. Nobody understand the system of how American works more than black Americans. Nobody, no matter how they're trying, no matter how they want to cope, they want to act they cannot beat it. The only person that understand are the black Americans, the foundational, the indigenous black Americans, that a lot of them are around claiming that there is nothing like indigenous, there is nothing like Native American, there is nothing like, there is, no matter what, they cannot stand it. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section. Credits belong to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks, and also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. And yes, with that being said, with no further ado, I do like I always say in my videos, I'm going to be saying bye, and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Mwah.